This video is to help explain the early counting routine to go along with the one-pager developed by Karen Erickson and Claire Greer in 2019. There are 5 steps to this routine, and you're going to need a collection of anywhere from 6 to 20 items a day because you need not only enough for the number of the day, but you also need enough items for a comparison group. Here are some other ideas for counting collections of things that you might have in your home already. Step 1, number name ID. You'll either need a set of printed numbers from your district, or you can handwrite the numbers on a small sheet of paper. What we're going to do here is give the student the prompt, this number is 4. And then we're going to ask the question, let's practice naming this number. What is this number?
4.
If your student is nonverbal, they can answer using an AAC device, or they can be given an array of numbers to choose from, and they can indicate their answer by pointing or eye gaze. Step 2 is counting collections. You want to give the student the same number of items as our number of the day. And you want to say, the number 4 represents 4 cans. So let's practice counting the number 4. So I'll show you once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. That final wave at the end is important because that's counting with cardinality. That means that the student knows the last number they said is also the same number that totals our group. So I'm going to go ahead and have the student count with me. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's count. 1, 2, oh, my student double tapped. That can happen if you use items that are too small or if the student doesn't yet have one-to-one correspondence. What you can do is switch from a tap to a push. So I'm going to have the student push the items instead of tapping. Let's practice counting 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Step 3, making collections. I'm going to give the student more items than they need. So today's number of the day is 4, and I'm going to want them to make a group of 4 items. It's really hard for them to stop their own count because usually in school we ask them to count everything. And in this case, I want them to know when to stop. So I'm going to go ahead and help them, and we're going to make a group of 4. So now let's make the number 4. Ready?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Nice. My student counted one-to-one with correspondence using pushes, and they used cardinality. So those were 2 good things. If your student's not quite stopping on their own yet, you want to use heavier items or larger items to make it a little slower for them to push them into that group, so you can encourage them to stop their own count. Step 4 is comparing collections. You want to set up the 2 collections, one with the number of the day for the student, and then you need a collection that is at least 2 more or 2 less than what they have. And you want to vary that number over time. So the first step is we're going to have the student count their collection again.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Then I'm going to count my collection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Can you point to the collection that has more?
This one.
And who has fewer?
I do.
Students don't always like to answer the question about less or fewer. So at this point, if you're getting a good answer to comparisons for more, you're on the right step. All right, you've made it to step 5. Now we want the student to be able to answer the question, how many? That's the most common thing that they're going to hear in everyday life. So what we want to do is get the idea of object permanence. Not only do we know that there's 4 items because we can count them, we know that if we move them around or count them in a different order, we'll still come up with the number 4. So let's start out by having our student answer the question, how many?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Great, so my student was able to do that. Now we're going to try and change it up. How many?
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
Terrific. So my student was able to answer the question, how many, and know that in any order, we're still going to come up with the number 4. If it takes a while for your student to get all these steps successful, that's okay. We're putting them on the path to numeracy, and we know that we're teaching them important life skills about how to communicate about quantity in their life. So that's all 5 steps of the early counting routine. It's important to know that you only do one number per day, and you could spread the steps out over the course of a couple days. The first few times you do these routines, you want to do the numbers 1 through 10 in order, and then you can go ahead and mix it up after that. If you do need anything, my name's Shawna Veit, and I work for Oakland Schools.